Morning YouTube, Mike here. Getting ready for the day. Just got to get some parts in. I wanted to show you guys this book. Here's the van. Nothing much different. I got to install that washer panel for a Samsung. I'll post that up on my Instagram. But yeah, I guess it's not too messy, not too bad. But all right, going. Not too much going on today. Got 4 jobs I gotta do. It is Saturday morning. Sorry if the audio's bad and you guys can't hear me that great. Try to talk a little louder, but it's not perfect in here. It's just my phone. Okay, so here's the book. It's Major Appliances by Eric Kleinhardt. Look how thick this book is, man. It's thick. It covers gas and electric, so I don't know if you guys need to see the information on it. So if you don't want to go to a school or something, at least get this book. It's a good book to have. Start keeping on the van with me just in case when I'm waiting through jobs, want to read through something. But yeah, wanted to catch up with you guys again. Another week, and yeah, it was a very busy week for me this week, which is a good thing, very good thing. I was at least doing minimum 6 calls a day, add in more. I want to say minimum because some days I had 7, some days I had 8, some days I had like 7, 8, but one day a customer canceled, so it got down to 6, but then I added another COD call and that came, so it went to 7. So some days it'll be like that, where your week will be very full and you really don't have much time to do anything because you have to come home and get your claims done, your paperwork done. That's why COD calls is not much of that. Once you get it done, it's done. You file it away, you got your money, and that's it. When it comes to warranty work, you gotta, do it properly, pretty much. It's just a process. And yeah, so Saturday morning, first job is 23 minutes away, but I'm gonna be working in that area. So once I get to that little area, it's gonna be, all my jobs are pretty much in that area this morning. That's how I kind of work it. So I don't try to just go far for one job or then I go far for another job and then far. I try to group it so where, well, my wife, she tries to group it where certain days I go to a certain area, so it's easier for me to not just be scattered all over the place. You don't want to be zigzagging left and right, up and down. See how my county works is north, south, I go. So some days she'll have it where I go to the north, some days she'll have to go south, or I'm in my same area. So, same thing. I probably explained it to you guys before. But yeah, just got my other van fixed up, ready to go. I had to get that done, just because you never know what might happen to this one I'm in. Even though it's a newer one, I've been taking care of it, no issues with it, but you never know. And I still drive the other one on weekends sometimes, but since I've stocked this van with pretty much a lot of parts for my first call completions, I tend to just gotta stick with this one. So I'm trying to get my other van just like this one, but it takes time. It took me, I really focused on this van, and I'm actually gonna put my list together on what I put in this van, because I just went off the top of my head and what I know I use, and I mentally keep if I use one, that same day I'll reorder another one. Like I used a Samsung dryer element, that day I ordered 2. So now I have a stock. I'll just keep stocking up to where the parts that I usually use a lot, where I don't, I can keep some of my other van too. My other van is probably gonna become where I keep my bigger parts and some of the parts that I need to restock for this van, because I want to make sure that van stays active. So when I eventually do hire somebody, that van is up and running, it's good to go. I mean, right now I'm at the point where I have enough tools and I just have to stock that van up a little better, and I can hire somebody, no problem. It's just that when hiring somebody comes with a lot more responsibility, and I guess what's holding me back is that responsibility, micromanaging, and I got to put policies and procedures in order to make sure that that person, has a good system to follow by when they're going to pick up parts, when they're going to complete a job, how they notify me to complete a job, all that stuff I got to get down before I even start hiring anybody. So yeah, I'm just enjoying the ride of doing it on my own. That's just how it is sometimes, at least for me. And another thing too, trust issues. I don't really trust a lot of people. Nowadays it's a little different. People are more about the money than the actual knowledge to learn something. Because when I first started this job, when I was young, I want to say I was only making $300 a week. That's because my boss put it up to me to say, hey, look, you're training at the same time. It's like you're going to school the same time you're getting paid. So he put it to me like that. So it didn't matter at that time how much I was getting paid, because I wanted the knowledge to take. I saw what he had, and I'm like, well, I'll be stupid not to follow this. I mean, especially because I really liked it. That's one thing, I really liked it. And I'm the type of person where I'd rather love what I do in life than to do something just for money. That's just not me. So yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. I started this channel for the younger guys to see how a young guy, and I'm 33 now, but when I started I was 30, my own business, but I started this trade well before I was 20. So it's just like the knowledge that I have, it's very extensive, but at the same time I'm still learning every day. And that's the thing, you got to be humble to keep learning in this industry. There's never a point where you'll reach the peak and say, okay, this is all I need to know to get out there and get started. There might be a certain point where, yeah, you need to know a certain amount to get started, but as long as you know how to maneuver around any appliance, you'll be fine. Because once you'll start, once you have a problem, you know where to start looking. That's what I want to say. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Didn't want to make the video too long this week. Just wanted to check in with you guys. Shout out to all the people making YouTube videos with appliance repair. All you guys help add to the community. And for me, that's what I like to watch when I'm not, working or chilling. I'm like, when I'm watching YouTube, I just catch up on all the appliance repair videos that people have done, and more or less the guys that are showing their daily, routine and how things go. I really like that. It just has a, you see the process of how people run their calls, and just a little different, And shout out to Appliance Bootcamp again. Mike Sneed had a video I watched last night about the worst part of owning appliance repair business, and I guess I can agree with him and say that that's probably one of the worst parts, because I was waiting to see what he was going to say, because to me there really is no bad part in this business, because you have the freedom to do whatever you want. If I really didn't work on Saturday, I wouldn't schedule jobs to work on Saturday. It's just that for me personally, I catch up on a lot of people who don't, like today I have 3 installs and 1 new job. So that's my 4 jobs I'm doing today. There's people who can't be there during the week, and they need a Saturday morning. And that's just how it goes sometimes. So pretty much when I get in all those jobs that I'm installing, because they're all warranty jobs, submitting all those claims pretty much. And that's just how it goes. You gotta, I explain the process to one of my subscribers. And yeah, shout out to the Appliance Apprentice. Shout out to all the people that are added to this appliance repair community, because we trying to make it well known. And appliance repair to me is one of the best trades that you can get into, because you have to know a little bit of everything, And yesterday I did a drain pump. I had to make sure that the garbage disposal wasn't brand new because it wasn't draining, but when I checked power to the pump, it was getting power, no draining though. So luckily I had a pump on the van and replaced it. I keep a lot of different types of pumps sometimes. Sorry about that. And I keep like I said, a lot of, I'm starting to just build my stock up more and more and more. The more and my first call completions have definitely went up. I mean, this past week alone, I've saw, like, out of every day I was running, I was at least completing maybe 5 calls out of 7, 8 calls, which is a day. So you got to think about those calls now roll over to the next day, adding to another call. So that's the reason why I had so much. I don't. If I wanted to be specific and say how many new calls did you have every day, I might have had 4 to 5 new calls every day, and on top of those new calls, there are installs added onto it. Because there's a lot of jobs I get to where I just don't have the part for it. I don't keep specialty parts for that's pretty much designed to fit on one appliance, like timers or certain timers, refrigerators as well. Just a lot of things, like main things I keep, things that can be switched between different models. Like for instance, GE water valves. I keep a couple of those because you can use them for several different models. GE heating elements. I keep them for different models. Now, Whirlpool, I keep a lot of different defrost timers, GE too, but see, that's the thing. I don't see much heating elements going out on Whirlpools. It doesn't happen as much as GE, so that's why I keep a lot more GEs. You know, just simple things like that. You just got to know the pattern that you go through in the area that you are in and the stuff that you see. Yeah, I'm on a 95, guys, and I really forget to take this thing out, but it really helps me when I'm driving, because when I'm looking straight, I can see my speed and everything like that. So, you know, I haven't figured out how to take off the that feature where you get to a certain speed, but yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, see, 75, that seems to be the speed, and if I don't stay over it, it's gonna keep beeping like that. Bear with it. Eventually I'll get to a better place where I'm more professional with this, but to be honest with you, I'm just sharing, you know, a little bit of what I'm going on with you guys. So I'm not trying to like blow this YouTube thing up. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to help out. I'm just trying to share information, you know. The same thing about me, how much gas I put in a day. Like today, I didn't put gas in it yet because I had gas from yesterday that rolled over to today. So sometimes when I tell people $20 a day, sometimes, like, I'm pretty sure I can finish my day out with the gas that I have in this van. And that's one thing, having these newer, smaller vans and the bigger ones, they're 4-cylinder, they don't take that much gas. So compared to my V6, my Dodge Ram van, that thing was doing 25. I mean, I would have to fill that thing up today. I know I would. But it had a slight miss on it, so for the longest it might have just been using more gas. I finally got it fixed. The thing runs like a champ. And that van only has 113,000 miles on it, so it's not like, you know, it's got a lot of life left to it. A lot of life. That's why I just got to take care of it. One thing I was saying, when you take care of your tools, take care of your parts, make sure they're stored properly. Real quick before I go, I wanted to share a story with you guys, and this is just something that happened to me about 2 days ago, and just want to share it so you guys understand how customers are. So I had this one customer, I've been there before, it's through the warranty. I fixed his fridge. I got a call for his dryer. Got out there, the dryer was in pieces. I mean, it's been taken apart. So he starts telling me the story. He's like, all right, I had a guy here from such and such company. He, what was going on with the dryer was, he would start it, it would run for 30, 40 seconds and cut off. He would have to wait another 10, 15 minutes, do it again, same thing. So he couldn't use it, it was unusable. So he basically had this guy come. The guy did pull up diagnostic mode. He pulled up codes F23, or no, he told the guy F25, but when I got there, I saw some different codes. But honestly, those codes have nothing to do with what the dryer was running, because the first thing people think of is motor, and that would be the first thing I think of too. But when, you know, the guy got there, he thought he just checked the diagnostic code, because, you know, sometimes nowadays these newer techs, they're so focused on electronics and just looking for what's the code when, you know, the code is not the end all be all. And I just want to say that, you know, sometimes you got to just, you know, fish things out, investigate, and see what's going on. So this guy, he told me that over the span of 3 visits in 5 hours, this is just a Whirlpool Cabrio dryer. So if you know the Cabrio top loaders with the clear glass, this is the dryer style to it. It's the older one, maybe from the first generation of them. So yeah, he had the whole thing apart. Now luckily, how I handle those situations, if it wasn't a warranty call, a COD call, I'm definitely charging extra. That's for one thing. And I had a fellow business owner, appliance repair. He said one thing. He said to me that he's like, man, customers don't understand. A lot of times when we take things apart as a repairman, when we taking it apart, it's a process. So we know exactly how things go back together, what screws goes where. So, but in this instance, I knew this dryer like the back of my hand, so I know how to put it back together, no problem. I'll put it back together in the quickness. So what really messed me up was, and I want to keep in mind, I don't want to veer away to the story, was that make sure when you get to a place, don't let whatever's going on take you off your diagnosis and how you diagnose things, because that's what it kind of, since he was telling me the story, it got me looking different places than what my initial, you know, troubleshooting style would be, which is I would go straight for the motor, check the motor first, and you know, check the centrifugal switch, which actually was the problem. So the guy changed the thermal fuse, he changed the exhaust thermistor. I don't know what else he might have changed in there, but he just started throwing parts at it. So the point of my story is, don't be that guy. He came up to the job with a voltage tester. You know, the little tester that, you know, you put it on the wall, it lights up, doesn't give you any reading, it's not a display, it's just, and I'm like, you can't, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm listening to this guy talk to me and tell me, he's like, oh, he was a nice guy, but young black guy came, and see, this is what people, I'm not discouraging anybody from working how they want to work, as long as you present yourself professionally. But he can't, this is the guy talking to me, and I'm cool with the guy. He's a older white guy from New York, and very good customer to me. I can't, last time I was there fixing his fridge, he actually gave me an old throwback Knicks jersey, because he just loved how I was so much. So I'm gonna look out for him whenever. But he was telling me the story about the guy, and told me that yeah, he pulled up, he didn't even have a van like you. He pulled up in a Dodge Charger, and his first thing was, when he came inside, oh, I'm gonna need my service call. And I'm like, you know, with you, it's like, you came in, you diagnosed the problem, you actually fixed it, and then you got your service call afterwards. You know, whenever you go and get a deductible, that's just my style, not taking away from what everybody else does and how they do it, but I ask for the deductible after I'm done diagnosing. If I need a part, I need a part, or if I'm fixing it, I'm fixing it. That's when I pick up the service call, or the deductible, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, and then he tells me, then the guy's telling him how long he's been doing it, and you know, he can tell that the guy didn't know exactly what he was doing after he was taking so much things apart. And he came back with parts, it didn't work, and he's just like, you know, the guy's getting more and more of an attitude towards him because it's not working. And I can definitely understand where it's coming from. If you don't know what you're doing, you're getting frustrated. But if you don't properly diagnose things, that's your fault. You know, I had the troubleshooting, this tech sheet, and I'm like, you know, it tells you the values of each individual sensor. So I think the exhaust, the inlet thermostat, that was supposed to read around a certain, the resistance is supposed to read around a certain reading of ohms, but that those relate to the temperature, the ambient temperature that's in the room. So it'll give you values, but it won't be spot on. But as long as it's between certain temperatures that you can see on the chart, then you know it's in a good range. So I tested all the sensors. Well, obviously I see the new ones he put on. They all tested fine. And as soon as I go check the motor, you see the little spring broken. Easy. You know, he needs a motor. I've seen it to where the spring had popped off and the on the centrifugal switch, it's still intact, like the little tab didn't break off. I've put those back on and it's worked fine. But a lot of the time the tab breaks off, so you can't put the spring back on for the switch to engage properly. So, you know, I've been doing this for so long. I've known the guy. I'm like, this is what I'll do for you. I'll get you going. So a lot of times I'm gonna have to replace the motor anyway, so I'll extend that clip, the spring, I'll extend it to where it's caught on one side and it'll go to the other side all the way around to the other clip of the centrifugal switch. Now, a lot of times I'll get it good where it doesn't make a little noise when it starts up, but sometimes it'll start up and go, you hear, but then it'll level out and it'll work fine. I called him that day. He got 3 loads done and it's still working. And what ended up happening is they wanted to replace it because the motor was just too expensive. It wasn't cost effective from how old it was, and they didn't want to pay me to do the work. So, but as a customer though, he's like, Mike, the first he's like, you're like a wizard, man. It's like you feel good about those things. Not that I feel bad about putting another guy down, because you never want to do that. But at the same time, you have to feel good in yourself that you came in there the first time. You didn't even need a part to get him going. He needs a part, but to get him going temporarily, his wife was sick, just came from the hospital. They had laundry piled up, and I just felt bad and wanted to get him going. So that's pretty much what I did, and it worked out really good. And I'll have a customer for life with him. I have no ifs, ands, or buts. I'll tell you that much. So yeah, I just wanted to share that story. And the another point I wanted to make: when you're out here, don't be that guy. Have all the proper tools you need to get started. Don't go out there without, your multimeter, I want to say, let that be the first thing you get. Because I use my multimeter for everything. Every appliance. Every single one. Even the one, like I was just talking about the dishwasher with the drain pump. I had to use my meter to check to see if it was getting the proper power. If you don't have that, you will not succeed. I just want to make that clear. I don't care if it's a digital, analog, you just gotta have one. And these customers are looking at you. They can tell you don't know what you're doing. They can tell that's why what I do, I keep, if a customer, not say over my shoulder, was in the vicinity, I talk to them while I'm doing my diagnosis. Because once I'm talking to them and they ask me, hey, you found, I'm like, not yet, I'm still testing each component, or whatever. Because a lot of times some things are just not apparent. You just don't see them. You got to test for it, and that's just what it is. There's a lot of times till this day still where I'll get things wrong, or luckily I got a good group of guys that I can hit up if I need anything. But that's the thing. You want to build relationships too, and just stay humble, and you'll definitely make it out here. But I wanted to share that story with you and to tell you that take pride in your uniform. I have like so many different shirts of my uniform, my name on it. I can't tell you how many times people just say, oh, you came to the house, you got your uniform, your hat, and I've heard other customers say he didn't even have a uniform, he looked unprofessional. Those little key things will have people not call you back. You might have fixed it, you might have did a good job, but they might not call you back, and that's the thing that I want to just say to you guys. Just approach this thing, because it is your own. It's your own. If you're going out here and you're starting your own business, doing this, have some pride in it. That's the thing. Have some integrity. Make sure you do right by the customer. Make sure you go back if you need to go back. I keep stressing that because that's probably the biggest complaint. People not going back to a job, or not finishing up, not sticking with it. And I commend that guy for coming back 3 times, sticking with it. But something, I feel like that information on that motor, you can Google that and say, hey, why is this dryer cutting off and you'll go on forums and see stuff, and you can get different ideas and know what to look for. The internet is a powerful thing because a lot of things have been documented, put up on, somebody's had this problem before and it's been put up on and asked this question. Other guys say, hey, check this, check that. Just because it's not an appliance forum where professional techs, look at the guys who've had techs come to the house, learned what the fix was, and then put that information on there. So it's this, there's always information you can find on appliance repair. And one thing I'll say is, it's good to go to school, but if you have the mindset, you don't really need it if you can just good with your hands and you can maneuver and you have a good, strong sense of, if I see it, I can do it. That's one thing with me, is that if I know I see something physically, just see it, watch it, whatever, I can do it. That's just how I am. I don't know if everybody's like that, but I'm a visual type of learner like that. And if you're the same way, you'll do good in this industry, because one thing with me, a lot of repairs are due to pattern recognition over time, but that pattern recognition will still lead you in the right direction where you need to go. It might not be that exact same part or whatever the case may be, but it might be close to it. And that's why I just want to say, pretty much. But yeah, like I said, I'll show it to you guys one more time if you missed it. This is the book. Get it. Thank you, Mike Sneed, for this book. Again, thank you. I didn't even know about, and it's funny because I think Brother B over there, TMM, had mentioned this book, and from one of his early videos, because I remember him saying this guy's name. What's his name? Eric Kleinhardt. So shout out to him too. I think he did say this book. I just didn't really think about it because I was like, well, there's no book for appliance repair that'll show you how to repair things, and that's how little knowledge I thought I knew. But anyway, thanks again. Thanks for all the people subscribing, watching, keeping up with me, asking questions. Like I said, I'm just putting my own 2 cents in it. This is how I run my business. You guys can run it how you want to run it. I don't want to say this is a blueprint, but you can follow how I did mine. Like I said, if you're on there on Appliance Bootcamp or any one of these, training is a great thing. You're gonna need that training, and I would say most people need training. It's only a few of us who can come out here and do it without. And I don't know if I could have did it without working for somebody for so long. I don't know, because that's not the path I took. Now, if now my mindset now, I can say, yeah, I probably could have learned all this, but that information that I learned from working for that guy for so long, invaluable, and that's just what it is. So just take the route that's best for you, and take the route that you can find success with. That's pretty much what I want to say. But all right, guys, you guys take it easy. I'm gonna get to my first job.